Hello everyone and welcome to EDU 187 Teaching and Learning for All. My name is Karen Botnovic and I'm so excited to be your instructor for this semester. A little bit about me, I've been in the field of education for 15 years now, 5 of which was a 7th grade teacher both in Durham and in Beaufort, 10 of which have been here at Carteret. I am currently the chair of academic success, so I oversee all of our ACA courses. I also teach math, and now I have the pleasure of teaching EDU 187. I cannot be more excited about this course in particular because I think we as educators have the best profession, and I believe that wholeheartedly. We touch the lives of everyone across the board. So I'm excited to be able to share some of the tips and tricks that I've learned throughout the years to be a better educator. I wanted to start by going over our course syllabus. So you have access to this on our homepage. At the top of the page here, you have my contact information. Notice my office hours are Monday, Wednesday, 1 to 2, and Tuesday, Thursdays, 11 to 12:30. If those times do not work for you, you can email me anytime and we can set up a virtual meeting or we can set up a time in person outside of those hours. This is a 4 credit hour course, so you are getting 4 credit hours towards graduation. But it is a 6 contact hour course. So the state of North Carolina has said on average you should be spending about 6 hours a week in this class. The primary required text for this course is this book here. The book is called Why Didn't I Learn This in College? It is the 3rd edition. Why did I choose a book called Why Didn't I Learn This in College? Reflecting back on my time in the School of Education, I felt like I did learn quite a lot of information, but there was a lot that I didn't. Part of me just wanted to know, like, how do I set up my classroom, or how do I survive the first week of class, or how do I build relationships with my students? And a lot of that is not covered during your time in your classes. So when I chose this book, I wanted to choose a book that you could really take with you during your time as a teacher and hopefully have some practical applications. We will cover topics such as philosophies of education and learning theories and all the background of education that you need to know. But I really want this course to be practical. I want it to be something that you remember a few years from now, that you're like, okay, I learned that in EDU 187 and I can actually apply this to my classroom. So that is why I chose this text. I will say that I realize that some of you may not have the text by the deadline of this first week of class, which the deadline is coming up very quickly, which is Monday. With that being said, I did copy the first chapter of the text because you do have a quiz on that this week. I know that is heavily frowned upon, and that's the secret we're going to keep in this class, but I did want you to start off being successful. So I do expect, though, by week 3 that you have the textbook. So make sure you either get it from the bookstore or I provided the ISBN number there for you to be able to search. There will be other texts that we will use, but those will be free to you. Those will be what we call open educational resources. And so I will provide PDFs of those texts to you. In terms of technology, I do expect you to have reliable internet so you can access Moodle. I will not read for you the entire description here. I hope this is something that you read on your own when you open up the syllabus. But we are going to cover everything from learning theory to motivation to how to write a lesson plan. That's going to be a big one, to professionalism to leadership. So there is so much that is being covered in this one course here. In terms of our learning outcomes for this class, you're going to understand the basic functions of teaching. What does it mean to be a 21st century teacher? Key concepts in the field of education. You're going to go over things like planning, delivering, and evaluating instruction, identifying effective strategies for all learners, and then summarizing the curriculum of North Carolina Public Schools, and then professional dispositions. In terms of attendance in this class, it's a 16-week online course. You may miss no more than 3 weeks of course material. Weeks run from Monday at 8 a.m. to the following Monday at 12 p.m. Most of our modules will be due on Mondays at 12 p.m. I will be sure to publish the due date at the top of every module that we have. Sometimes, though, I realize some of our modules may take a little bit longer, so it may not always be Monday, but you will always have at least a week, other than the first week of class, because that's a very short week, being that we're starting on a Thursday. But every week after the first week of class, you will have a full week to work on your assignments at minimum. In terms of the withdrawal policy, make sure that you read this. If I drop you from this course for not participating, meaning you've missed more than 3 weeks worth of material, you get a grade of UW, which calculates as an F. If you decide that this course is not for you, maybe you've decided to completely change your major, as long as you drop before the 61% point of the semester, you get a withdrawal grade or a WD. Now let's talk about the major assignments in this course. You will have assignments frequently throughout Moodle. Those could be discussion forums, quizzes, or short essays. That is going to be the majority of your grade in this class, so that's going to be 40%. You will have a very large lesson plan project, which will essentially be kind of like your final exam. It's the grand finale of the course. This will account for 30% of your grade. You will do classroom observations throughout the semester. And I do realize this is an online course. I would love to have you physically in the classrooms. But being this is an online course, and I know probably a lot of you are working throughout the day, these observations will be online. So I will post videos that you will have to watch of teachers, and you will have an observation form that you will need to fill out for these. And that will account for 20% of your grade. And then the last assignment, which is probably my personal favorite, is a note to future self journal. This is going to account for 10% of your grade. So throughout the semester, especially on a week when we're heavy on teaching strategies, you will have to complete a small journal where you'll have to list out 2 or 3 strategies or ideas that you would like to implement in the future. Why am I making you do this? I can't tell you how many conferences or how many times I've seen another instructor do something where I'm like, yes, I want to do that in my class. Like, I want to implement that in my class. And then I get back home or I get ready to do that lesson and I'm like, what was that again that I was going to do? Like, what was it that I enjoyed so much about that conference? So the reason I'm having you do this is because at the end of the semester, I'm going to compile all your entries and I'm going to send them back to you. And I really hope this is something that you keep for the future, because again, I want this class to be able to help you as a future educator. Also, something that I would encourage you to do, now this is not a requirement, but it kind of goes hand in hand. I dug back through my closet and I found, this is my old teaching portfolio, so you can see my little appendix there, my table of contents. I kept a portfolio throughout my time in the College of Education. So anytime I had to do something like, for example, in this class, you're going to have to write a philosophy of education or the lesson plan that you do. Any of those type of things that you want to keep for your future. It may not be a physical binder like mine. You can see mine is quite massive. But you may want to keep just like a folder on your computer so you're keeping track of all these things. Like, for example, your philosophy of education, you're going to have to write that I don't know how many times throughout your time in the College of Education. So why not just save it to your computer and keep it for your future? Now, down here on the next page, you have my late work policy. So no late work will be accepted 7 days past the due date. I'm a big proponent of grace periods. I realize life can happen. Something could happen that you can't turn it in 1 week on time. If that is the case, I will give you a grace period of 7 days past the due date, but I will count off 5 points for each day the assignment is late. And that is, I don't care what the excuse is, why you're turning in late, you do not have to email me and tell me. It will be deducted 5 points for each day that is late, so a total of 35 points if it's 7 days late. I will not accept work 7 days past the due date. At that point, I have moved on, I have graded it, it's over and done. In terms of the grading plan for this class, you can see here 40% is going to be, again, your Moodle assignments, 30% your lesson plan project, 20% your classroom observations, and 10% your note to future self journal. Now on the next page here, you have our reading schedule. So these are all the modules that we will cover. Module 1, what you're doing right now, is from chapter 1 of our text. So we're talking about what it means to be a 21st century teacher. The assignment that you're going to have to do there is a short quiz. You're also going to have to do an introductory forum. Both of these assignments are going to be due by next Monday at noon. It's kind of a short week again because we're starting on a Thursday, which is kind of odd. But then module 2 is where we get to our full week. We're going to be doing our philosophy of education creating a positive learning environment will be Module 3. Module 4, we're going to talk about classroom management, so how to build those relationships with students. Module 5, probably one of my favorite because I love setting up a classroom, but how do you set up a classroom for success? And how do you make those environments inclusive? Module 6 is on growth and development and learning theories. Module 7, we're going to talk about curriculum standards, testing, how to set lesson objectives and goal setting. Module 8 is a big one, so teaching methodologies and instructional strategies. Module 9 is how do we get in touch and reach out to those diverse learners that we have in our classrooms. Module 10, student motivation, rigor, and relevance. Module 11 is assessment techniques. Module 12 is going to be how do we make learning active. Module 13 and 14, that's going to be the big project here. This is going to be lesson planning. So how do we create a lesson plan? How do we implement it? How do we put in those assessments? How do we diversify our assessments for all the learners we have in our classrooms? That's going to be a big week for us. Module 15, we're going to talk about professionalism and ethics and then setting yourself up for success. And then we're going to conclude this class by talking about collaboration, leadership, and how to work with parents. The last 2 pages here are academic integrity policy. If you have never read that policy, I hope that you have, but if this is your first semester, for example, please make sure you read the academic integrity policy. I do expect all the work that you turn in for this class to be yours and yours alone. I do follow this policy. Also, on the last page, you have your disability statement. If you do receive any type of accommodations, make sure you stop by the MAP Center, which is on the 2nd floor of the McGee building. You do have to have those accommodations in place, especially on things like our quizzes that we'll take in this class. Title 9, which is our sexual discrimination and harassment policy, contact information there is listed in this paragraph. And then all of our other community college policies, you can find a link to that on the home page of our Moodle page here. I do want to jump back to our home page here, and just to let you know, for each module over here on the left-hand side, I will specifically give you the due date for that module. At the top of that page, I will give you the course objectives, and then I'll also list out for you all the assignments. You will also, for each module, have a video that is directly from me. Sometimes it'll be a bit longer. Maybe there's something that I'm actually teaching you. Other times it'll just be a video of me going over the directions for the assignment that week. You can always access your gradebook down here at the bottom left-hand corner. This is your course dashboard here. You'll be able to access not only your grades, but your feedback on all the assignments that you have from me. I do want to mention we are going to be taking this course one module at a time. So although you see them all over here on my page, you're only going to see one module as we keep going. So as we end week 1, I wanted to leave you with a quote. It's probably one of my favorite quotes about being an educator. So it says, "Some teachers taught the curriculum today, other teachers taught students today, and there's a big difference." So I really want you to think about that. Yes, your curriculum is important. And yes, we're going to be talking a lot in this course about assessments and lesson planning and all of that good stuff that comes with it. But the most important thing being an educator is your students. Your students are people, and developing relationships with those students is the most important aspect of being a teacher. So I'm really going to stress that throughout this class is your job, your primary job, is to build relationships with your students. And through those relationships, that is how you teach the curriculum. We don't realize sometimes, and it's easy to forget as an educator, what type of impact that we have on students. Some students, you can change the trajectory of their entire lives just based on that relationship that you built with them. So I'm so excited again to start this journey with you for you becoming an educator. If you ever have any question whatsoever, anything under the sun, please do not hesitate to ever reach out to me. I'm looking forward to a great semester.